Iraq has long struggled to balance its ties with the US and Iran, both allies of the Iraqi government but regional arch enemies. Remember, the Iraqi government angrily condemned the US airstrikes against the Kataib Hezbollah in December. The apparent decision by Iraq's security forces not to prevent supporters of the militia from breaking into the US embassy compound in Baghdad in retaliation signaled a sharp deterioration of US-Iraq relations. Iran has trained, financed and equipped Shiite militias in Iraq that battled US forces in the years after the 2003 invasion and remobilized to battle the Islamic State group a decade later. The stage for a confrontation after the death of Soleimani, if it comes to that, is most likely going to be Iraq. And we're now being joined on the broadcast by retired Lieutenant General Syed Atta Hasnain, who is now a public speaker and a strategic analyst. He is live on Skype from Gurgaon in the National Capital Region. Thank you so much for being with us here on the broadcast. This is a history that is being written as we speak. The question is, will it be written for the better of the world or not? How do you read this situation, keeping in mind that whatever happens, India will certainly be will be hugely impacted by the outcome of it?
Thank you for that question. I'll take the issue of the impact on India at the end, but let me start by saying that whatever has happened in terms of the assassination of Qasem Soleimani, to my mind, is a hugely strategic event which has taken place in the Middle East. In the United States itself, there isn't too much support for President Trump for having ordered this assassination because they feel that this is actually a trigger to war. And America is war-weary, and no one wants to look at an all-out war with Iran. There is every possibility that Iran, with the kind of nationalism that this has thrown up, and typically Shia nationalism, which it has thrown up, is going to retaliate. And the Ayatollah himself has stated that it will be a very robust kind of a response. And you're seeing threats which are taking place from both sides. It's a matter of time before Iran will do something, and there's no doubt about it. And the United States will be in a very difficult situation if it does not respond to that once again. I think my main point which I'm making to you on your excellent program is that the assassination of Qasem Soleimani actually takes away the control over the Quds force, over a very major element of the IRGC. And therefore the IRGC, which had the control on all the proxies on which you have been emphasizing a lot in your program, all the proxies now will be in a state of a decontrol. They will be able to carry out operations on their own, which is not going to require, which is not something in the interest of the United States. Because if nothing else, the presence of Qasem Soleimani ensured that while targeting was going on here and there, it was in some sense of order. Here, you are going to likely find this deteriorating into a state of disorder. As far as India is concerned, there's no doubt about it. The statistics have covered a lot of ground. My information tells me that besides Iraq itself, where this is going to manifest, the potential of this spreading into the other Gulf states which have never been affected so far by all the tensions of the Middle East is very, very high. And you may very well find Iran probably targeting, through Iranian proxies, targeting various U.S. interests in places like Qatar, in places like Kuwait. If that happens, then obviously the very large Indian diaspora is going to get affected. 8 million people in the Gulf region itself, sending back $40 billion worth of remittances, is something that we are not going to afford very easily, besides the fact that evacuation of such a large number of people is going to be a nightmare. The last part of it, of course, we import a very large part of our energy. Almost 50% of our energy requirements come from this region. And the slightest of tensions, which has already escalated, And if it goes to a higher level of tensions, you're going to find the Straits of Hormuz probably closing down. And with that, alternatives for oil will have to emerge. And those are going to be extremely expensive, and it's going to take time getting them out. Prices of oil, prices of energy in India are going to escalate hugely. We found this in 1973 when it happened, in 1990 when it happened, in 2003, and I think we are facing that spectre once again.
Right. Saadat Hasnain, I wanted to ask you specifically about, let's talk about Donald Trump. Right after the strike, when you were talking about what kind of retaliation we're going to see from Iran, even before that retaliation comes forth, you have Trump threatening to attack 52 sites of cultural significance in Iran, which has been described by many as a war crime. Even the threat is a war crime, and committing it obviously is a violation of international laws. Trump's actions, be it the strike, the drone strike, or whatever has been spoken after that, essentially will stoke proxy war in Iraq.
No doubt about it. And I was a little surprised yesterday and the day before when a lot of commentators in America were saying that this is actually likely to lead from proxy war to direct war. No, I fully agree, endorse what you are saying. This is going to actually escalate proxy war in a very, very big way. And Mr. Trump, I don't think has thought through this. I don't think this has any strategical logic in the decision to carry out this assassination. Why just the hitting of cultural sites, the 52 cultural sites which he has spoken about? Even an assassination of a leader is considered to be illegal. It is not considered to be conventional. No doubt that Qasem Soleimani was declared a terrorist. The Quds force was declared a terrorist force by the United States. But this is something very different to Osama bin Laden. Osama bin Laden was a declared international terrorist when he was shot down, when he was killed. I tend to think that President Trump may be trying to compare this achievement with the achievement of President Obama in the elimination, the neutralization of Osama bin Laden. I don't think Mr. Trump has got it entirely right, because he does not. Qasem Soleimani was more of a hero in the Middle East, and he did not give out the kind of negative sentiments to the people in the Middle East the manner in which Osama bin Laden did. And therefore, I think President Trump at the moment, while he's making threats to carry out the strikes on those 52 cultural sites, I think this is more psychological warfare more than anything else.
Lieutenant General Saadat Hasnain joining us on this broadcast for that big focus this Sunday night here on WION World is One. Thank you for being with us here live.